So here we are back to where we let off last lesson, and the butterflies are still going backwards in circles, which, let's be honest, isn't much of a game or isn't that interesting. So in today's lesson we're going to try and make this a little bit more exciting. We're going to get these butterflies moving in random around our stage and bouncing off the sides. You'll remember last lesson that we used the move command to make our butterflies go forwards, and that by putting a negative number in we were able to send them backwards. You'll also remember that we used the turn command, and that followed the sort of same format in that a single number on its own made them turn clockwise, but negative would make it go backwards. What we're going to add in now is an if statement that your teacher will have explained to you. The purpose behind this if statement is that we can ask ourselves a question. Have I reached the edge yet? And if we've reached the edge of our stage, we want to turn. Now, fortunately for us, there is a function that we can use. It's part of the player class that is available to us. So we start with the word if, and then we say at world edge, followed by a couple of curly brackets. No need this time, because we're not actually passing anything to the function. There's no need to put anything inside those curly brackets, but we still do need to have them there. Sorry, not curly brackets, curved brackets, and then we have another normal curved bracket straight after it, followed by a curly. Now this is different, and you need to look very closely at the type of brackets we've used there, because we've got two in play. Then I've got my turn, which I'm going to update to a 7, and then I put my second curly bracket in, and you can see that this curly bracket is matching with the one up here. And this is important because this is a command, this is a sort of selective command. We need to tell Greenfoot where the bits within its start and end. So if this is true, if we are at the world edge, we want to do everything between this curly bracket and this curly bracket, which in our instance, in our case, is just the turn 7. So let's see if this works. Save our file, go to the code. Remember, we need to compile. We've compiled and now run, and we can see that we've now got some random behaviour from our butterflies where as they hit the side they turn. So what you can see now that our game's been running for a while is that the butterflies have ended up following each other around in a very uniform fashion. And this isn't great for gameplay, and isn't really going to take our game on to the next level. So let's add some random behaviour to how they move around the stage. We're going to go to our code, and if you look at the code you'll see that I've put a comment at the top of the bit of code we added last, which says turns the butterfly if it is at the edge. Now this is a really good trick if you're a programmer, is before you try and write some code, write it in English, because often you will know in your mind what you're trying to achieve, but you maybe don't find the code so easier to construct or think up. So what do we want to do? Well, we want to say, for example, we want to turn the butterfly an amount if the random number is less than 10. Now we're going to give this a 1 in 10 chance. So what does that mean? Well, we've said we're going to use an if statement, so we can start with that. If curly bracket, if curly bracket, and then the squiggly brackets all there. But what is our condition? Well, we need a random number, and we're fortunate enough that Greenfoot provides one of those. So here it is, Greenfoot.get random number, and we want our random number to be between 0 and 100. But we said a 1 in 10 chance. So if I say less than 10, that means that the 10 is 1/10 of 100. So that's a 1 in 10 chance we've got there that this number, this random number, will be less than 10. And if that's the case, what do we want to do? Well, we need to turn, and for the moment I'm just going to pop 15 in there. So let's save that, compile and run, and what you can see is that our butterflies are now moving much more randomly around the screen, but they're still changing the same amount every time, and maybe I want that amount to be random, and I also want them to be able to go in both directions. So how can we do that? Well, we can go back to our code. We can use the random number generator again to give us a number between 0 and 20, but that's only a positive number, and you'll remember from last week I said that to turn the other way we need a negative number. Well, how about this? If we get a number between 0 and 40 and then subtract 20 from it, we're effectively getting a number from -20 to 20. And let's see how that works. So save, compile, run, and now you can see that our animals are moving in both directions much more randomly, which is what we set out to achieve.